Welcome and thanks for tuning in to another video from Thoughtful Programmer. I'm John, and today I'm thinking about business software architecture. So thinking about business software architecture, it occurred to me that we don't really have a good definition, a good agreed on definition of what business software architecture really is. And related to that, what is a business software architect? So call me crazy, but I decided I would ask Google what business software architecture is and what a business software architect is. And what I got as my first hit was this. So this is not a definition for business software architecture. This is a definition for software architecture that happens to mention business, and it says, solutions aligned with business goals. So that's pretty interesting. If you Google define business software architecture, you don't get a result for business software architecture, and I think that's very telling. So let's go back to basic definitions. So what's architecture? There are several definitions. It's really that second definition that I think is more what we're looking for. The first definition, of course, is about buildings, architecture associated with buildings. That's very natural. But that over time, that came to be this second definition down here, the complex or carefully designed structure of something. All right, so we can work with that. And by the way, if we look down here at the root of where that came from, it points us to architect. All right, so what is the definition of architect? Look at this. Once again, the definition that they have is a person who designs buildings, or the person who's responsible for inventing or realizing a particular idea or project. But if you go back and you look at the origin down there, it comes from the French, which comes from the Greek, which basically means the chief builder. So an architect is the chief builder of something. And architecture itself is the complex or carefully designed structure of something. Okay, I think this is quite useful. Now, while I was here, I decided I would, do a little bit more poking around on some of these definitions. So I couldn't resist. So I Googled define software architect, and I got back this definition. A software architect is a software expert who makes high-level design choices and dictates technical standards, including software coding standards, tools, and platforms. The leading expert is referred to as the chief architect. In looking at this definition, I don't like it at all, because it's kind of diverted from being the designer of the software, the chief builder of the software, to looking like it's somebody who's picking, dictating technical standards and high-level design choices, but it's not really talking about designing the structure of something. So I really don't like this definition at all. When I looked for the definition of software architecture, I got this. Software architecture refers to the fundamental structures of a software system, the discipline of creating such structures, documentation, blah, blah, blah. Well, and it's back to the fundamental structures of a software system. So the software architect should be responsible for designing those fundamental structures primarily, not this, coding style and stuff like that. That's really very trivial compared to designing the fundamental structures. All right. Now, business software, a lot of businesses are enterprises, so I thought, what the heck? I'll search for the definition of enterprise software architecture. And what I got back was this. Enterprise software architectures refers to an architecture developed for the organized growth and development of an enterprise information technology. It focuses on the long-term evolution of IT systems. Okay, I understand that. So they're basically saying that the enterprise software architect would be responsible for defining the fundamental structures of the infrastructure on which business software is going to be built. Okay, well, that's interesting. That's useful. But it gets back to, well, how does that really relate to a business software architect? And there's an overlap, there's a relationship here. But, really the point we have to get back to, well, what is business software? So if you ask Google, business software is any software or set of computer programs used by business users to perform various business functions. These business applications are used to increase productivity, to measure productivity, and to perform other business functions accurately. Pretty good definition, but it leaves out your customers. And really, your business software is there to support the business, but increasingly with self-service, with mobile applications, with web-based applications, the customer is also part of this. So I think that this definition misses, it's close, it's good, it's a good start, but I think it came from an earlier age when business software wasn't really engaging customers. So I think we need an update of this definition. So finally, all right, here we go. We're back to what is business software architecture. And we're back to this definition. There is no definition. So let's come up with a definition. What is business software architecture? And once we know that, then what should our duties be? What should our focus be as business software architects? So here's my suggestion. Working from the definitions for architecture, architect, enterprise architecture, I think that this would be a very good, very useful set of definitions for business software architecture and for what a business software architect is. Business software architecture is the structure of any software or set of computer programs used by business users and their customers to perform various business functions. It focuses on the long-term maintenance and evolution of the business functionality rather than simply on the functionality being delivered today. And that would make a business software architect a person who designs the structure of software that is used by business users and their customers to perform various business functions, focusing on the long-term maintainability and evolution of the business functionality. So hopefully that's close. And perhaps this will inspire one of you to go out to Wikipedia and actually supply definitions for business software architect and business software architecture. I'm going to come back to this subject of business software architecture quite a bit in later videos. We'll talk about what the various components are that make up common business software, common patterns for how those components are put together, and really work on how we can structure these components in order to provide the business functionality that's necessary in a manner that's both maintainable and which can evolve over time. I hope you found this useful. Once again, thank you very much for tuning in, and have a great day.